Hello everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you all are keeping safe and well. So here is the recipe. We are going to make a mango mascarpone Swiss roll today. The ingredients are already posted on our story. You can check that out, or we can just show you once more the ingredients so you can note it down. So we are hosting a mango week this week, and my topic for the day is a mango mascarpone Swiss roll, which is a very beautiful, light, airy, cool kind of dessert that one would love to have in summers. It is one of my favorite desserts because I don't like to eat anything that's very heavy. So this is nice and fruity and light and not too sweet also. So we'll get started on that. So Swiss roll is an European dessert with a very soft and airy sponge similar to a Japanese cheesecake, and in the middle you can spread anything on it. You can spread some chantilly, which is whipped cream and sugar. We are going to do a mascarpone chantilly. We'll add some mangoes to it. You can add, if you don't want to add mangoes, you can add a bit of a little layer of jam also. That also tastes very beautiful and fruity, if that sort of thing you like, or if you want, you can add any other fresh fruit in the middle. How we are going to do that? Alright, so we'll get started. So these are my ingredients. So I have some egg yolks, egg white, sugar. For these are sugar that will be used in two different parts, so that's why we've scaled differently in different bowls. We have honey, we have butter, we have some refined flour, cornstarch, milk. I have some mint that I'm refreshing it in cold water, some chopped mangoes that will go in the middle, some beautifully triangle cut mangoes that will go for on my decoration. This is for the Swiss roll. Now for the mascarpone chantilly, I have some sugar. The whipping cream and the mascarpone is in the fridge right now because I cannot take that out until I'm ready to use that. Otherwise my cream will split and so will my mascarpone, so you won't be able to whisk it. So keep those as cold as possible and take it out on the last minute. And I have some vanilla extract also. Alright, so we will get started on the Swiss roll sponge. So for the Swiss roll sponge, you actually need two machines. If you have two KitchenAids, that's the ideal situation. If you have one KitchenAid and one hand beater, that would also work. Two hand beaters would also work. So basically what we want to do, we are going to whisk the egg yolks in one bowl and egg whites in one bowl, and both have to be done simultaneously. So you need two machines for that, or someone very strong that will whisk it for you if you have someone. Sure. So we will start. I have two KitchenAid bowls right now. I have two whisks. So I'll take my egg white, put it in my KitchenAid bowl, and I have sugar, which is 130 grams. So 130 grams sugar will be added to my egg whites to make the meringue. Alright. Also, so I'll just put that on the just for information, this is a no substitute recipe. No ingredients in this recipe can be substituted. This cannot be made eggless. This specific recipe cannot be made eggless, but I'm sure you can find another recipe of eggless Swiss roll, or I would suggest you can buy a premix of sponge and then you can use that, because premix eggless sponge is very light and airy, so it's very easy for you to roll. So you can use that, but in this recipe no ingredients can be substituted. So I have my egg whites in the KitchenAid bowl, I have my sugar ready next to it. In another KitchenAid bowl, I am going to put my egg yolks. The sugar, that's 30 grams, will go with it. So whenever you add sugar to your egg yolks, mix it immediately. You need to mix your egg yolks and sugar immediately. Do not let your sugar sit on egg yolks. Otherwise what will happen? Your egg yolks will make lumps with the sugar, and the more you, even if you whisk it too much, then also you won't be able to remove those lumps. They will stay forever. So it's better if you just give it a mix right away. Also I have honey. This will also go along with the egg yolk and my sugar. I'll just warm it up for 10 seconds so that it becomes thin and comes out of the bowl easily. So I warmed it for 10 seconds. It's thin enough to come out of the bowl. Alright, so we have our egg whites and sugar in one KitchenAid. I have my honey, my sugar and my egg yolk in one KitchenAid, in another KitchenAid bowl. So before starting any of the machines or anything else, so the idea of what we are going to do is we are going to make a meringue which is medium peak, not very stiff, it's going to be medium, and we are going to whisk this egg yolk mixture also till it's voluminous, light, fluffy and almost doubled in volume. So before putting this on the KitchenAid bowl, I am going to put it on a double boiler to heat it to about 36 degrees. So this is a pot with some water in it. You can see how much water I've put. It's not too much, so that I can put my KitchenAid bowl on top of this. I'll put the water on simmer, and I want the steam coming out of the water to heat my bowl, and I'll keep mixing my egg yolks during that time. If I just leave it like that without whisking, the egg yolks will get cooked from the bottom. So that is something I do not want. So I'll put this. I just want it to simmer. I don't want a rolling boil because I don't want the heat to be very harsh. So this we will cook to 36 degrees. So at 36 degrees, it's just 36 to 40 degrees you can take. Basically what happens, all the sugar gets dissolved. So the whisking, the timing of the whisking becomes shorter. So my eggs will get voluminous in a shorter amount of time. If I wouldn't have used the double boiler, it might have taken long time. First the sugar will get dissolved in the machine, and then after that it will start getting double. So that will take a lot of time. The sugar melts easily, so it just makes my work easier. If you do not have a thermometer, you can just use your finger touch and see if it's at room temperature. Then you can room temperature a little bit warm, then you can transfer it to your KitchenAid.
There is a question, can we use icing sugar to dissolve quicker?
No. You cannot use icing sugar because icing sugar has cornstarch. Our recipe also has cornstarch. So it will just interfere with different ingredients or the quantity of cornstarch. Maybe you can calculate the amount of cornstarch present in your icing sugar, reduce it from the cornstarch in our recipe. That's going to be a little tricky. So it's better if you just follow the recipe. So while my water is getting hot, I can start on with my meringue, because meringue takes longer than this egg yolk to increase in volume. So that both can happen simultaneously. I'm going to start with my meringue. So this meringue is little different from every other meringue. So usually in a French meringue, what you do is you whisk your egg whites till it becomes frothy, and then you start adding sugar little by little. But in this recipe, we are going to add 80% of the sugar in the beginning and then start the machine. It's just going to give me smaller bubbles rather than big bubbles. So my meringue will not collapse later. I wouldn't suggest using this for anything else that requires French meringue. Do not follow this recipe, do not follow this method unless you're told to do so. This is not going to give me stiff peaks, which you might require with French meringue. So this kind of method will only give me the kind of consistency I want for a Swiss roll. Alright, so 80% of my sugar is going in. I have this much left, and I'm going to start with my meringue on a medium speed. Alright, now here my water has become hot. You can come here, and it's on a low simmer. It's not on a rolling boil. So now I'm going to keep my thermometer ready and put my egg yolk bowl on top and keep mixing. This is also done because sometimes you have eggs right out of the fridge. So this will basically make all the ingredients that are in the bowl at the same temperature, which is going to be 36. Otherwise, there are some ingredients that are cold, there are some that are room temperature. So that's why we heat it. I'll just check the temperature once. Once you take it off the double boiler, mix it for another 3-4 seconds and then stop, because there is some still residual heat that might cook your eggs. So my eggs are at 32 right now. A little bit more I'll cook. Couple of degrees more. It's at 34 right now. So this is a very gentle method of heating or melting anything. You can melt your chocolates also this way. So it's not harsh for the chocolate because they get burned very easily. And so does your eggs, they get cooked very easily. So you can use this method to warm it a little. Honey is there. Honey is actually a natural inward sugar. So it gives very little sweetness because it's not there in a lot of much quantity, but it also retains the moisture. It keeps my sponge soft for a longer time and it won't let it dry. So it's at 36 degrees right now. I am going to pop it in my KitchenAid and put it on medium speed. Or maybe you can take it higher also. You don't have to be very careful with egg yolks, but with meringue you have to be a little more careful. So you can come and see that my meringue over here, it's starting to get very frothy. So at this point I can start adding the rest of my sugar that is left in my bowl little by little. until I'm done with all, and then I'll show you what kind of consistency or what kind of peak you want for your meringue. So I can start adding add not too much, 1 to 2 grams every time you put, and let that sugar dissolve. So the first the sugar that I put must have been dissolved, so I can add my second part. So you have to be very careful when you are adding sugar to your meringue. What basically sugar does, it makes your egg white elastic to make it more frothy. If you whisk your egg whites without sugar, you can whisk it only so much. You can't whisk it to a very stiff peak. So to take it to a stiff peak, you need to add sugar. That will give it more elasticity. And you need to let one part of sugar get dissolved in the egg white before you put your second set of sugar, so that it doesn't get weighed down with a lot of sugar, because sugar has a lot of weight, and this is basically we are incorporating air in our meringue. So lots of sugar if you put in at one time, the weight will just collapse the meringue. So that's why we add it little by little. There are no substitutes in this recipe. It's a no substitute recipe. We cannot substitute eggs. As you can see, there are no leavening agent. There's no baking powder. There's no baking soda in the sponge. This is the only aeration you will get. You will make your sponge fluffy only by using eggs, like how we are doing. So so you cannot skip this. This is the main ingredient. We are actually coming up with a lot of eggless recipes, so you can just tune in and check if we have something interesting for you, and you can watch it later. But this time it's not going to be an eggless dessert or any substitute. Speed medium. It's about 3 in this machine, between 2 to 4. But my egg yolks are faster. They are at 5. So when you're making a meringue, do not go above medium speed, medium to slow. Keep it like that. Otherwise, you will get very big bubbles. Your meringue will increase in size and then suddenly collapse. So try to make it at medium speed. I've added all my sugar now. I'm done with the sugar. So while both of these meringue and egg yolks are whipping, I am going to talk a little about the tray. So I have prepared this. I melted some butter. I brushed it on my tray. I put a parchment paper on the bottom, and then I cut out strips a little bit taller than the sides of my tray, and I also brushed melted butter around the sides, and I stuck those strips. This strip is only there so that if my Swiss roll gets a little taller than the tray, it doesn't come out. One, and the second thing is it won't get crusty or it won't get stuck on the sides also. The sides will also stay quite soft, just like your bottom and the top. So that this is why we put strips on the side. So after putting the melted butter and sticking the paper, I just pop it in the fridge for 1 to 2 minutes so that the butter solidifies and the paper also gets stuck. Because usually when you put melted butter or oil, the paper tends to fall down from the sides. So by putting it in the fridge for 2 minutes, you get they stick very nicely and they don't fall. So I'm going to put this on one side, wait for these two to get ready. So here's my egg yolk mixture. It's very light in color as it was before, as compared to before, and it's so thick that the line, that whatever I drop, it stays on top. So this is the kind of texture I'm looking for. But I will not just leave the bowl like that while I'm waiting for the meringue. I will keep this in the machine at speed 1. Instead of no mixing, I would prefer mixing it at the lowest speed so that I don't lose all the air that I've created. So with the meringue, what we have to do is we mix it at a medium speed, about 4 to 5. And then how do we check that the meringue is ready? If you have a KitchenAid, then what we do, we just lower the speed down to 1. And what happens when the whisk is running in the bowl, you can see at the lower speed a ball forms. So basically a lot of meringue gets collected in the middle of the whisk. So that is the consistency we are looking for. If you do not have a KitchenAid, you can just look for the consistency or the peak that I'll show you right now. Just look for that and you will be good to go. That's okay. And this whisking of the egg yolk can be done with the hand blender, with a hand beater. That's okay. That won't be a problem. And this can also be done with a hand beater. So I'm going to put this now on speed 1 and see if I get the meringue collected in the middle. If I get the meringue in the middle, then I'll stop. Otherwise, I'll just increase the speed to whisk my meringue more. So once both of these are done, I will fold both of them in a bigger bowl like this. Mix both. Add all my dry ingredients. Give it a fold. And then I will add my butter and my milk together. I will microwave this to about 60 degrees. I will tell you why. So what I can do is I can just put my butter and milk together and I will microwave it. And once I'm ready to use it, I will make sure that this is at 60 degrees. I will tell you the reason why we are taking this to 60 degrees. So I'm not getting the meringue collected in the middle, so that means it needs more whisking. So that is what I'm going to do. So I'll lower the speed down to 1 again and see. So this was done before, so I'm stopping this machine. The meringue is also done. You guys can come here and see that there is there's a ball in the middle of the whisk, which was not there before. This only came once my meringue was ready. So I'll just stop so that you can see. It's like a disc in the middle. I'll just show you once more. It's like a disc in the middle. Can you see? So I'll stop this. First I will take my whisked yolks. In my bigger bowl. So the bigger the bowl you have, the less air you lose. So this sponge is basically a game of incorporating air. So you've incorporated so much air, now you have to be careful that you don't lose it. So it's better if you use a bigger bowl, so that you have to mix very less for it to get properly incorporated. I have my meringue also ready. Now meringue will be added in 3 parts. I'm going to add my first part, mix it so that it doesn't collapse. Then I'm going to add my second part, mix. But before adding my third part, I'm going to add my dry ingredients. And then my last part of meringue. This is just a personal preference, but I feel when you leave one part of the meringue out and before adding the dry ingredients, what happens is you lose air because you're adding some heavy dry ingredients. So a little bit of meringue that's kept on the side just adds to your volume. It doesn't, because this one wasn't, this was untouched, so it doesn't collapse. So this just helps to make your sponge airy, keeps it airy by adding the meringue later. So divide it into 3 parts. Just by guessing, no need to weigh it. And when you mix, give it a fold. So cut in the middle, turn your bowl and fold. Cut in the middle, turn your bowl and fold. So this is just me allowing me to mix everything without collapsing the air that I've created. Alright, so once you don't see any white lines of the meringue, you can add the second part of your meringue. How much? ठीक है, और साइड में अभी. So my second part of the meringue is also full. Now I'm going to add my dry ingredients. So my cornstarch and my flour, I'm adding both to one bowl so that it's easier for me. I will give this a mix. And it would be better if you have someone with you to help you, so that the motion that I just showed you, you keep doing it and there is someone dropping the dry ingredients from the top. If you do everything by yourself, then you tend to lose the air. So I have Kanak with me. She is a student of mine and she is going to help me. Just sprinkle the flour from the top, and what I'll do, I'll just keep mixing. Little faster. One second. Stop. So let me mix this much, then she can add the rest. थोड़ा ऊपर से. Slowly. So as you can see, the dry ingredients are so heavy that I'm starting to lose my air. So I still have my third part of meringue. That will just increase the volume again for me. Check temperature. So I am going to add the last part of my meringue. So now I have, so once this gets mixed, I'll add my butter and my milk that is at 60 degrees. Okay, so the main reason of adding the butter and milk at 60 degrees is that everything right now might not be at room temperature. So if I feel the temperature of my bowl, it's a little cold. So by adding this hot mixture, will just make my mix a little liquid, and it's going to be easy for me to spread it. So warm mixture. So this was at about 65 degrees. So I'll just change the bowl to drop the temperature a bit. Do not take it above 65 degrees, otherwise your eggs will get cooked. So add the entire mixture and mix it. So now my mix is almost done and it's warm enough for me to spread it on my tray. Now one of the main points is that we do not want to use a palette knife to spread the mix. We want to avoid using that. You can definitely use it to give the final touches, but we are going to avoid using that. So what we'll do is very interesting. We will use gravity instead of my palette knife to spread the mix. So I have all my mixture. So can you see all the beautiful air that I have incorporated? The mixture is almost double or triple the size of the ingredients that we had. So, and this is all eggs. There is no leavening agent here. This is all eggs. So what I'm going to do is, I am going to spread it with the help of gravity. Just so what is so if I use the palette knife right now, the beautiful bubbles and the air that I have created will get basically I'll just kill it by pressing it with my palette knife. So that is something that I'm going to avoid by doing this. But yes, I might have to use it just to spread it to the edges if I don't feel that it's even enough. But I actually don't see any need for me to use the palette knife. It's spread beautifully and evenly. And now this goes in the oven. Before putting this in the oven, I'll just tap it to kill all the big bubbles that are present. So we just have even sized bubbles. So I am going to put this in the oven, and what we are using here is a deck oven. If you have that, then use the deck oven with the top temperature should be 190 degrees and the bottom temperature should be 170 degrees. Because we want color on top and we want absolutely no color on bottom, and we don't want any sort of crispiness or crunchiness. So that's why these are two temperatures. If you do not have a deck oven, you can use a convection oven with the fan turned off if you have that option. Because what will happen, with the fan, the heat gets very aggressive for the Swiss roll to rise, because it's only eggs. So you have to be very gentle with it. So that's how. So you can bake it at about 165 degrees, 170 degrees without the fan, by turning the fan off. So that is how you can bake it at home. And the baking time is about 13 minutes. So different ovens have different sort of heat, and they take different times. So I would just suggest, I will show you the color that we require. Once you achieve that color, you can take it out. It can take up to 12, it can take 11 minutes. If you have a stronger oven, it can take 13 minutes. Or if you have a little older oven, it might take 15 to 16 minutes also. So I have, because we don't want you guys to wait, so I have a sponge that's already made for me. So I'm going to use that. So what I did, when the when it was ready, I took it out of the oven and I put it directly on the took it out of the tray and put it on a wire rack. immediately as I took it out of the oven, because I do not want it to get, I didn't want it to get cooked with the residual heat. So this just cools my sponge really fast. In about 5 minutes your sponge will be cool enough for you to make a Swiss roll. Alright, so this is the color that you're looking for. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a paper on top and flip this. So this recipe gives me 2 Swiss rolls. This is a very big sponge. It's a full size sponge. It might be very difficult. No, it is going to be very difficult for you to make a Swiss roll entirely with one full sponge. So what we do is we cut this in half and make 2 Swiss rolls separately. So before cutting that, we will get our mascarpone chantilly ready. I have my cream, my whipping cream and my mascarpone in the fridge getting chilled, so I'll take that out. Yeah? Which question?
Can we put vanilla extract also?
Definitely you can put vanilla extract. There are some people that just feel that it might just taste eggy to you. Some people might find it eggy, so you can add a splash of vanilla, about 10 to 15 ml, and that will be really great.
We use a preheated oven.
Yeah, preheated oven. As soon as if you have the oven that has green and red light, as soon as the light hits green, that means the oven is ready for you. You can put your sponge in then, and do not let the sponge rest. As soon as you spread it on the tray, you have to put it in the oven immediately. Do not let it. Yeah, both rods on. Fan off if that's an option for you.
What is the temperature for the normal oven?
Normal oven 165 degrees. Okay, I have my mascarpone over here. It's nice and creamy, but what I'll do is I will just add a little bit of my cream to make it more creamy, so that it doesn't form any lumps when I add it to my whipped cream. More liquid I'm going to make that. So there are 4 ingredients in this recipe. In the mascarpone chantilly recipe, there is whipped cream, there is mascarpone. If you do not like mascarpone, you can completely skip it. But why would you? It just makes your chantilly very rich and creamy. So I've added this. I have my sugar also. I'll add it, and a little bit of vanilla.
Is there a substitute for mascarpone?
You can skip it if you do not want. I have another whisk, so I'm going to pop this on the machine. Try to get a little stiff peak so that it's easier for you to spread. While this is happening, we can get on with our sponge. I'll divide this in half. Try to use a bread knife, serrated knife, for a nice cut. So I'm going to make only one for you guys. I hope you all can share. So that is the sponge that I'm going to shift it on this tray, and this sponge can go at the back. So what we are going to do is, once our chantilly is nicely whipped and stiff peaks, we'll spread it all over. Make it, try to spread it evenly. We'll put some nicely chopped mangoes over here at the beginning, and then we will roll the Swiss roll. Alright, so I'm just waiting for this to get stiff. please keep your whipped cream cold. If it's warm, it will not whip. We are using the French whipping cream, the 35% butterfat content. We are using the brand President or Ellen Wire also you can use. If you do not want to buy that, you can use the soy based cream as well. Riches or Tropolite also you can get. It's already sweet, so there is no need for you to add sugar in it. And it's also vanilla flavored sometimes, so that also you can skip. Mascarpone, it's up to you if you want to add or not. So the colder it is, the faster it will whip. And if it's warm, then it might split. You will get butter and your water, your buttermilk will be separated. Any questions, Sylvain? Sorry? Cream cheese actually has a very salty, sour taste to it, and so does sour cream. So I'm afraid it's just going to give you a very tangy taste. If that is something you would like, then of course, but you can if you want to, if you like that kind of flavor. You can add it at any point. You can add it in the beginning with the egg yolks also, or you can add it in the end when you can add it to the butter and melted butter and milk mixture also. So try to keep your cream very stiff so that when you make it into a roll, it doesn't come out. So as you can see, it's quite stiff. It's holding its shape. That is something that we are looking for. So the quantity that's written over there with 500 grams of cream, it's enough for you to make 2 Swiss roll. One that is kept behind and one over here. So you can just with like a ballpark figure, you can just guess and put half over here. If you want to use a weighing scale, then you can divide it, weigh it and then divide it. I just do it like that, and I'll put half of the cream and I'll spread it. Just keep this in the fridge, bottom right. And I have my palette knife over here. Just takes it to another level of richness. I actually love mangoes myself, but I tend to avoid them because they are very hot in nature. It gives me acne or pimples, so I like to avoid them. But when I eat it, I like to give myself a treat by making something like this to make up for all the times that I've missed having the mangoes. So I have spread it nicely. I have some mangoes chopped. You can chop whatever size you want. I have chopped them quite small. Do not make it very big, otherwise it will look quite funny. Only one whole piece might come into your in your slice of Swiss roll, or it just might not come because it got pushed on one side. So I would suggest medium to small pieces would be good, and you just take it and spread it here in one line. If you're using jam, if you like jam, then what you can do is, before putting the cream, just spread a layer of jam. If you do not, if you only want jam, then you can straight away start rolling your Swiss roll. If you like cream also, then spread a layer of jam, then a layer of cream, and then you can start rolling it. All right. So I've spread it nicely. Now it's going to be, now what we are going to do is the little tough part or a little tricky part. Do it 2-3 times and you will be perfect at it. You might break it at the first time, but that's okay. Once you roll it, you won't be able to see the cracks, so that's okay. So the first step is going to be, just take the sponge and tuck it in, just to give you a head start with the rolling. Alright, now what I like to do is use the paper for rolling. Do not do it with your hands. Alright. And the last part, you pull it to your side instead of pushing it. Alright. So now that I've rolled it, it's not very tight. Now I need to make my sponge tight. What I'll do, I'll just pull the paper towards me more. I have my sponge right here. I also have a ruler, a steel ruler that stays strong. Use that. I'll just shift this. Okay. So the paper is right here. I put my ruler over here. I push it towards me and I pull the paper away from me. So that is just going to give me a tighter sponge, proper roll. Alright. So this I'm going to pull it away from me, and this I'm going to push it towards me. And you will just see how this fat sponge becomes tighter and more compact. So if you feel that one part is a little thicker than the other, then just concentrate by pushing at that part, the other part, and try to make it even. If suppose you had, if you hadn't made your cream quite stiff, then the soft cream would come out of the sponge right now. So that is why you need to make your cream stiff. Alright. So now it's nice and rolled. Just make sure the seam should be at the bottom. So when you let it rest, put the seam, the fold, you should not be able to see it later. Okay, so this can be the bottom. Roll it nicely in the paper and put this in the refrigerator for a few hours. If you want to use it right away, then you can pop it in the freezer for about 15 to 20 minutes so that it holds its shape, it sets, and then you can start cutting it. Alright, I already have one piece ready for you, so I'll take that out, put this in the chiller or in the freezer for 20 minutes. In the chiller if you want to put, then you can put it for 2 to 3 hours for it to get properly cold and set. So I have one Swiss roll ready. It does tend to it becomes a little flatter than how we have rolled it in the fridge if you leave it. So that is why it's a little flat. But otherwise it was the same size when I had put it. Now what I'm going to do is I have very untidy sides, so I'm going to cut that for my presentation. So for this you need to use a serrated knife, a bread knife, to give you a nice cut. So do nice long movements. And you can see the sponge nicely tightly rolled, and you can see the mango in the middle. Alright. It's not straight. Just make that straight. Now here as well I'll do the same. If you do not want to serve the entire sponge, if you do not want to put it on a platter, you can just start cutting slices out of this and send it for service. So a slice is going to be like this. Enough cream, enough mango. You can't put more mangoes. If you put the mangoes all around your sponge, it might be tough for you to roll and make a tight sponge. So that's why we just put it in the middle. You can put some jam, so it will give you a nice swirl of jam and cream in the middle also. That looks quite beautiful. So now I'm going to decorate it. I have a nice platter ready. And I am going to decorate it with the leftover chantilly that I have and some chopped mangoes and mint. If you do not want to use chantilly on top, you can just dust some icing sugar and it will look nice, classic. Just in case your chantilly was sitting for a quite long time, it tends to lose the stiffness. So just pop it on the KitchenAid for another 2 to 3 seconds on high for it to become stiff. I have this piping bag stand. You can avoid using this also. You can do it on your hand also, or you can use a measuring jar. I am going to be using a star nozzle. You can use whatever shape you like. Any sort of star nozzle you can use. We can get so many different type of star nozzle with different sort of opening of all the metal part over here. So you can use whatever you can find that it's okay. So what I like to do is I like to put my nozzle and then push my piping bag in the middle so that whatever cream I put doesn't fall down. Make space for it. Add the cream. So I have my piping bag ready. You can pipe it however you want. You can just pipe small dots. What I like to do, I just pipe round. I have some nicely cut mangoes for decoration, triangle shaped, but you can use whatever cut you want. And I also have some mint sprigs, which I had refreshed in cold water, so I am going to take those out on the paper to dab and take out all the extra water so that it doesn't make my cream loose as it sits on top. I'll just use another bit. I have my mango, and I am going to be a little fancy and use this tweezer and decorate. Okay, almost done. And I'll pop the mint in between the mangoes just to give a bright color. So it's ready. Here we have the mango mascarpone Swiss roll, which is my favorite dessert. I hope once you try it, it becomes yours as well. And you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @chefshreyamonga, and you can ask if you have any queries or if you want any of my help. You can definitely contact me, and I hope you try this recipe again. Thank you so much.